Good evening, friends. Study with Apala Engineering and General Geology Parvin Singh book. So, in chapter 7, structural feature of rocks. Part C, faults and faulting. Introductions. It has been explained in the preceding chapter that under the influence of stresses developing from within the earth, the rocks mass adjust themselves either by bending when they lie deep below the surface in zones of fluid or by fracturing with or without any accompanying displacement. In the upper depth, the zone of fracturing. Fracturing is favored when the stress are sharing in nature and the rocks are brittle in character. In normally occurs when the shearing strength of the rocks is overcome by the operating shearing stress. Those fractures along which there has been relative movement of the blocks past each other are termed as faults. The entire process of development of fractures and displacement of the blocks against each other is termed as faulting. The key words in this determinations are fracture and movement. The exact significance of these keywords must be clearly understood at this stage. Fault is always a crack or surface of rupture, or a simple fracture surface, or a zone having numerous closely spaced fracture that has to be present in the rocks. It may be pre-existing or may develop intentionally just before the movement of the part on the opposite side of the fractures take place. There can be no fault if there is no fracture surface or zone. Similarly, unless there is evidence of a clear movement of the blocks created on either side of the fractures will not be considered as a fault. It may be a simple fracture or a crack or a joint or a fissure, evidence of some relative movement of the blocks against each others in a must of for qualifying that fractures as a fault. Faulting is a major tectonic process of great geological importance. The geological history of the earth bears innumerable events record in the strict of faulting and jointings that make it most uninteresting and challenging for correct readings and interpretations. Thus, the faulting on local scales may produce faults with relative displacement as little as a fractions of a centimeter, whereas the faulting on large scale, often at regional scales, may involve displacement along them measured in meters, tens of meters, hundreds of meters, and even hundreds of kilometers. So further, the displacement of block created in the rock due to faultings may take place in any directions parallel to the fault surface in an inclined manners or even rotational. A highly simplified description of development of fault is explained through in figure a sequence of three layers of rocks occurring somewhere within the earth comes under the influence of stress A, which produces fractures F1, dividing the original layers into two distinct parts A1 and A2. Under the influence of the same stresses or other developing subsequently, the blocks A2 is moved down slope B. The result is shown in figure C. This fractures F1 along which there has been a relative displacement of the two blocks A1, A2 is a fault. There are some other fractures also in the blocks such as SF, but they are not a fault because there has been no movement along them. So this is most important figure, a sequence of strata, stress and fault. Thank you.